If you were around for the PSVR1 era, then you're probably familiar with a lot of VR horror. And while there were plenty of standout titles like Resident Evil 7, Here They Lie, and Paranormal Activity, far more of them were janky, low-budget affairs. Thankfully though, I'm the target audience for these games. I love anything scary, so when a slew of low-budget horror games all set their sights on PlayStation VR2, no one was happier than me.
What the fuck?
Like any haunted house, Afterlife VR doesn't need a great premise. Really, use any excuse you can to get me inside, lock the door behind me, and then scare the crap out of me. But for those who are interested, you'll play the role of Officer Adam Bernhard, who's been called to investigate some sort of disturbance at the local insane asylum. And upon entering, you'll find the normally fully operational facility to be ransacked and abandoned. It's creepy for sure, I'll give it that. And over the course of the next 2 hours, I jumped more times than I could count. There are jump scares, dark hallways, and plenty of creepy things to keep you on your toes for a majority of the game. And most of them are punctuated with decent sound effects and haptics in the headset for added effect. So if you're like me and all you really need out of a horror game is to be scared now and again, well, Afterlife VR might have you covered. But long before you ever even get inside the hospital, it's obvious that there are problems here that'll keep most people at bay. The frame rate stutters here and there, and it's strangely blurry for a PSVR2 game. It doesn't kill the immersion completely, but it is really disappointing to see. Though, if I'm being honest, within a few minutes I was too focused on the game to even notice. What does kill the immersion though are the frequent moments when your head gets too close to a wall or part of the environment, and the display turns bright blue, which would be annoying enough in any game, but for a dark horror game, it's really jarring whenever it happens. It's also worth noting that on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, when you lean in to inspect things, the game pushes you away when you get too close. From what I understand, this is actually part of Sony's certification process, but again, totally unnecessary. Most of the game consists of exploring, making sure you find enough batteries for your flashlight, and health items to inject yourself with, and of course, trying to figure out how to move forward. Along the way though, you'll fight a few enemies, and now combat isn't one of Afterlife's strengths, but I do have to say I'm glad it's there, just to keep me on my toes. And there's plenty of puzzles here too. Some are obvious, some are obnoxious, but most of them just involve finding a key laying around somewhere. And sadly, our hero Adam just never shuts up about what you have to do, to the point where it actually becomes comical.
I should go check that registration desk. I should go check the registration desk. I should go check that registration desk. What the hell? I should go check that registration desk.
Actually, while we're on the topic, all of the voiceovers here are just bad. This is the kind of stuff that we expect from a budget horror game though, so it's all fairly tolerable until the end where things really start to go off the rails. And suddenly, you have telekinetic powers, which are the lamest telekinetic powers of all time. You're only allowed to use them maybe 3 or 4 times ever, only in certain situations, and only with certain objects. As if that wasn't bad enough, it then introduces you to the game's one and only stealth segment, which might be the worst stealth I've ever encountered in any VR game ever. Luckily, Afterlife isn't as bad as some of the stinkers that we got on PSVR1, and for the budget price of $15, I could absolutely deal with some of its jankier gameplay mechanics, especially for the fun scares that it delivers. But on PSVR2, our standards have gone up considerably, and there's no excuse for the frame rate, resolution, or immersion-breaking blue screens that constantly pull you out of the experience. So while it can still be fun, Afterlife is the perfect example of how not to port PC VR games to our next-gen headset.
Maybe I can crawl under it.